How much do you think you know about supply chain management? Well, my name is Todd Losby, and throughout my presentation, I hope to broaden your knowledge about all the information about supply chain management. Supply chain management is the process of overlooking materials, information, and finances as they move in the cycle from supplier to consumer. This cycle does not always take the same path, as many times it does not go directly from the supplier to the consumer. The importance behind supply chain management is the fact that companies don't want to have the inventory sitting on their hands or shelves. This is because when inventory is sitting on their shelves, it is not being converted into cash. And as you know, money is what runs businesses. When the company maximizes efficiency, their time and resources will be utilized at the best rate. The main goal of supply chain management is to achieve efficient fulfillment. When this is reached, they will be able to increase the customer value and their organization responsiveness will increase as well. The easiest way to say it, the purpose of supply chain management is to make inventory readily available in customers facing positions to fulfill the demand. Every organization must pursue the goal of matching supply with demand in a timely fashion through the most efficient use of cross-chain resources. When efficiency is reached, waste will be reduced, which will in return lower wasted costs. It is important to be efficient and produce the most inexpensive products possible, but supply chain managers must also focus on the value of their customers. Customers are what drive the market and specifically the demand. You need to understand customers' needs and wants in order to meet their requirements and even exceed them to keep them happy and continue to do business with your organization. Another important rationale for supply chain managers is the capability to respond to change. The business world is one of the most rapid changing with many different unpredictable forces that will have to change in order to stay in operation and survive. With many businesses going global nowadays, there are many more unpredictable variables that can potentially impact the business. If they don't change, then the business will potentially run out of business. Supply chain can be broken down into three main flows: the product flow, the information flow, and the finances flow. All three of these combine to make the overall idea of supply chain management. I will go into more detail on these three now. To start off, the product flow focuses on the movement of goods between the supplier and the customer. Most of the time, this is mainly dominated by goods being sold from the supplier to the consumer, but sometimes goods are returned, so they go from the consumer back to the supplier. The information flow mainly focuses on transmitting orders and updating the status of delivery so the customer and suppliers know when the transaction has been completed. A real-life scenario of this would be if you would buy something off Amazon, you will want to know when the supplier has gotten your payments, shipped the order, and where your package is compared to your house. Finances flow focuses on the payment of the goods by the customer to the supplier, and if a return occurs, make sure that the customer gets their money back. Not all transactions are paid for in cash because many of them happen on the computer, so credit terms and payment schedules are put into place by the company for the consumer to follow. With a constant update between the multiple parties included in the supply chain, there needs to be powerful software for the consumer and supplier to constantly know the status of their specific order. The two most popular types of supply chain management softwares are planning application and execution applications. The planning application use advanced formulas and mixed methods to determine the best and most efficient way to fulfill an order placed by a customer. The execution applications help keep track of the physical status of the order, along with payment of the order, and also update information on the management of materials for the producer. Constant updates that need to be made. Many suppliers rely on the cloud, so any one of their employees located anywhere in the world can make the necessary changes to keep the customers informed on their order. Many times there are many offices across the world, and sometimes the supplies are made across seas and then shipped into the United States. So with the cloud, they can make updates anywhere in the world. Many times, customers will want to change their order, so they will have to be able to have access to the order, and the suppliers will need to make changes too. In order to fulfill this, companies oftentimes rely on open source. There is a lot of data that is being produced and utilized through supply chain management. Companies rely on big data to keep their information safe and to be able to quickly sift through the information and find what they are looking for. For example, if they are looking for a specific order, there will be millions of orders in their database and they will need to find just one. Big data will allow them to sift through it through a search engine and find the specific order that they are looking for. The supply chain is great, but there are some challenges it always faces. To start off, they are constantly trying to make all customers happy, which is not easy at all. They are always having to adjust their costs and maximize revenues, while keeping in mind the risks throughout the market. Supply chain management is a field that is growing faster than colleges can produce enough qualified employees. With this deficit, they are always worrying about keeping their customers happy with the workers that they have at the moment. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you have a more in-depth perspective on supply chain management.